on, Degen Nation? Kenny Kim here, bringing you another Fantasy Golf Degenerates podcast this week for the fucking Ryder Cup. I am so pumped. As usual, I am here with my man, Tyler Tamboline. Tyler, what is up, my friend?
Oh my goodness, I'm here with you, Kenny. I'm not as pumped as you are. We'll get to that in a second. I'll talk about it.
You're from Canada.
Yes, but that might be part of it, but I think there's a little more to it, and I'll explain. Before we get into it, I want to remind everyone very quickly, this pod is brought to you and presented by DraftKings. Head on over to DraftKings.com, use promo code FGD when you sign up to DraftKings Sportsbook. Get yourself a little offer. We've got one for you later, another one that's pretty much free money. And then don't forget about our sponsor, fantasynational.com/FGD. Get yourself 20% off your first month. Kenny, we'll talk about it. Ryder Cup, I get it. I understand it. I know why you're pumped. I'm not saying I'm not. I fucking love the Ryder Cup as much as you do. I'm sure, as a fan, I'm excited to be going into this event, like you said, cheering for it. We never know what's going to happen. The Rory Reid type events, things like that, where you just get unknowns and it's just incredible. But from a DFS and betting perspective, maybe it's because there's no real 100-1 long shots or anything. By the way, Mito Pereira last week, we'll get to that in a second, 90-1 with the top 5 each way. Yeah, should have won that thing. I thought he was going to take that down. But maybe it's that. I don't know. But for me, doesn't quite do it as much. But then that's this shoulder with the angel. The devil on the other shoulder is saying, but you get DFS, grow the game. It's exciting. You can go out and play. There's lots of things. There's game theory. There's edges, all these things. So I'm still pumped. I'm here with you. We are degenerates. So you're absolutely talking about every event, but especially the Ryder Cup. But I did want to bring that up at the top and then give me your thoughts on the same sort of stuff.
Yeah, I don't need to gamble on this shit. This is like crack cocaine for me. Like, I will be up. I have had relationships end because of the Ryder Cup. I'll tell you a story. Last serious relationship I was in was 2018. And so I was dating this girl. She was perfect. She's like 24 years old, graduated from the Culinary Institute of America, fiery red hair, beautiful. I loved her. You know what I'm saying? She was great. I actually loved her. So she's a big fall person. Like Halloween, fall, shit like that. And I think the Ryder Cup was end of September, early October, just like last time. They could have even been later. So, she wanted to go to some type of she loved haunted houses or something. She's 24 years old. And she was a big fan of haunted houses. And there's this huge one near us that was supposed to be super scary. And it was the same weekend as the Ryder Cup. And I was like, no, I ain't going. You're like, am I going to see you that weekend? No. You're not going to see me for 3 straight days, blah, blah, blah. And then 3 weeks later, she broke it off, said I was too selfish, which really is true. This is when everything sort of went in my mind about relationships and shit like that, where I am way too selfish a person to be in a good relationship. I'm the shittiest fucking boyfriend there possibly could be, and that sort of came into my mind. And that's sort of when my whole mind frame changed, and I just started banging strippers. So that's how that happened. But basically, the relationship was ended. I tried to get her back for a couple months. That didn't work out. I really fucked it up. This was the good girl. You know what I'm saying? The one I married, perfect age, can cook, good job. Everything. And I fucked it up because of basically the Ryder Cup was her main reason why. She was like, I could deal with that, but she's like, you're incredibly selfish. You do shit just for you. And I'm like, fuck, you're right. Fuck. Yeah. I can't argue with that. So I've just sort of rode that for the last 3 years. So you don't see me with too many women nowadays because I am a selfish prick and I do what the fuck I want. And so basically the Ryder Cup cost me a good relationship. But I look back on it now, no regrets. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? I am 100% good. So I'm ready for this week. I'm ready for the Ryder Cup. I took Friday off. So I'll be glued in front of the TV for 36 hours as this event goes on. I don't even need the bet. I'll probably throw 10 lineups out there and have a little bit of a betting card. But I won't be refreshing every 5 seconds the PGA Tour website like I do during the middle of an event or on Sunday. Before we get into the Ryder Cup, let's talk about last week just for a little bit, a couple minutes. You talk about how shitty it was for me. I had Mav. I had Mav at 65-1. He was one of my bets for the podcast. So my 11th or 12th runner-up in the last 50 events. I've had 6 winners and I think 12 runner-ups. So I've been first or second place in, what is it, almost 40% of the events played in the last 50. But 12 of them were fucking second place and I didn't win shit. I also had a Lipsky top 20 bet. One of the better par 5 players when he was on the Euro Tour, parred the last 3 par 5s and finished 22nd, 1 stroke out of the top 20. Of course, Mav had that double bogey on 17 to basically crush him. And then we have, and then I had like a football bet last week. It was like a 3-game parlay. I hit the first 2, and then I had the Lions. I had the Rams minus 3.5, and they won by 3. So that's how my week went. I wanted to just, break my TV in half and murder everybody. So that's how my week went. I didn't really watch too much of the event. It was not the greatest event. But, that course, not easy. As you see, only about 3 or 4 golfers scored better than minus 15. That's one good thing. I think I was more into the first week of football or whatever coming into it. So what'd you think?
Yeah, pretty much the same thoughts. Max Homa.
Hold on, real quick. Good win by Homa. Cash in Cornerstone's not bad. I did win in cash in DFS. So at least that's a good start to the season. Going 3 out of 4 with Kevin Na. I think once he heard that Brooks was going to play, that news came out Friday, I think, right before he played. And then he went and shot like 78 on Friday because he just didn't give a fuck. I'm not going to make team. Fuck this tournament. I'm going to go to Silver. I'm going to go to Napa, drink some wine with my wife, go to the French Laundry, eat some good food, and go to fuck home. Go ahead, Tamara.
No, yeah, the motivation went away quickly there. I was just seeing that. But, I was just seeing one other thing. For me, it was, like you said, the hot start to the season in the sense of anytime 3 of my 5 bets on the show can roll like they did. I was with you on McNeely. That hurt. I was in on Mito Perrier when we talked last week about people wondering why he was the thing. He showed you again why he was the thing, 90-1. So I hit the coveted double each way, Kenny. I got 2 each way payouts up top there. So not a bad week betting wise, but Zalatoris, T11, he was another guy on the car. I know he was more of a favorite, but I had McNeely at 55. You had him at 65. I had Mito at 90. Many had him at 60 or 70. So I was happy with that. Good for Max Homa. It's going to go a little bit overlooked because of football and those situations. I got a couple football stories, actually. It's the Ryder Cup. We got a couple minutes to kill. But, Homa, again, whether it goes overlooked or not, you got to respect what this guy's doing, man. Like the numbers from the first win to now this with the 3 wins, the Riviera last season, now this, picking it up early, starting out right out of the gate at the Fortinet. I think that's good to see. Just stay on top of him. I think it's a good thing. We talked about this in the past. The sites still typically price him down. And yes, there is some boom bust to it, but the booms have been wins. And even if they're not always wins, when you're getting up at price tags of 7,800, 8,200, this type of range in most tournaments that we'll see throughout the year when the fields get stronger, that's something to keep an eye on. And even if they bump him to 8,500, I don't think he's a guy to look away from. It's almost like a Siwoo Kim where it's boom or bust, but you want to play him because when it's boom, we talked about earlier in the season, all those top 6s, how he was rotating top 6 with a couple missed cuts. Top 6. Well, here you go. Now he's closing the door. So his 1% finishes, if you're talking in a DFS manner of how many times he's getting in the mix and giving himself those shots, I think he's quite a ways up there. So good for him in that. Football stories. I was with your boy this week. I know you love to be the Korean Cust. I was with Cust. I went over to the Mayo Media Network, the studio, the headquarters over there, checking it out. They had the huge TV set up. And speaking of that, this guy is literally the true curse. I never really fully believed in it. I know all the retweets. I see them. I'll go with it. But I said, no, there's no such thing. This guy was calling it, and it was happening the opposite way. Non-fucking stop. It's incredible to be around and just watch. If you followed Mayo's Twitter that day, at least on Sunday, I know you already follow him, but if you followed his Twitter, this guy was literally like in tears, ready to go. His boy, Zach Wilson, was getting picked at will 4 straight times. And then that's a great story. But also, Kenny, I don't know if you know this or not, but you are now talking to the latest Millie Maker winner on DraftKings. I finally did it. I shipped the Millie Maker last night. So football, hot start. The only problem with that was I'm about 993,000 and change short of $1 million because I shipped it with 240 of my best friends online. Yeah. So, good to everybody that won that last night, but I just had to bring that up there. That was exciting for me. I posted on Twitter. I think a lot of people took it as me being serious. It was definitely sarcasm. I've been trying to win that thing for a while, but I could put it in my bio or something. Say I'm a Millie Maker winner. I did win.
Hey, a W is a W. You won.
Win's a win.
Like $1 million short, but you won. You won. So I'll give you that. I'll give you that. It's solid work right there. Now let's forget about that tournament. Now we're into the big boy stuff. This week is going to be great. This week is going to be fun. First off, usually we do our course preview and stuff. Really, the course, everyone knows what it is. It's not that big of a deal. This is mano y mano. This is a man versus man or 2v2. The couple of things about the course that you might want to go with, from what I heard, the course stretches out to about Whistling Straits stretches out to about 7,800 yards. Now, the way I'm hearing the United States is going to set the course up is the longer par fours they're going to keep long. Okay, the par fives are going to keep at a lengthy range, but not impossible to reach, especially for the longer hitters on the U.S. squad. The shorter holes, the shorter par fours, what I'm hearing is they're actually going to make them pretty short. So a lot of these big boy, big dog drivers can be able to drive it really close to the green, especially, since the U.S. supposedly has a distance advantage, and they do, but when you look at the overall advantage, it's like 9 yards. For the teams. I think the United States is like a 9-yard greater driving average than the Euros. So, I mean, there's definitely an advantage. And then some players, there's a way more of an advantage when you talk about Bryson. Everything's a bunker. So I'm looking at you, Dustin Johnson. Everything's going to be a bunker there. The rough around the fairways is less than an inch. Now, the thing is, if you miss wild, I mean, there's going to be some crazy 8-10 feet grass and water, and the big thing though I think is going to be the weather. This is one thing that might favor the Euros. The wind is going to be pretty hot, and it's going to be pretty fucking cold. Going out there at 7 a.m. 7:30 on Friday could be 60 degrees or less with a very, very strong breeze. I mean, you can see beanies out there like they had in France and stuff like that, or toques, whatever the hell you Canadians fucking call it. And so, but I mean, that's basically all you need to know about the course. It's more of a battle between golfers. I mean, usually on a stroke play type of an event, it's going to be you battle the course. This is the battle between mano a mano, head to head, 2v2. This is what the Ryder Cup is about. Stats. Are you looking at any stats? I don't even have a mano.
No, what I guess I would say, like, you're talking about the battle between that and going back and forth. I agree, but also too, like, from the perspective we're bringing things up, whether it's for betting or for daily fantasy, which we're going to get to the DraftKings picks and go through the pods and sort of how it can relate. You are making a lot of educated guesses early on. Of course, wait till the very last minute when you get the Thursday information that you have for Friday. That's when you should be building lineups. So many people are just going to build lineups right now and click them in, and that could make sense to me, or I could see that happening, or that you don't even have the information. You are going to get armed on Thursday with at least some information to get a starting point. No matter what you think right now, some things are more obvious. JT and Spieth likely playing together. You can make these types of calls. But I'm saying, still putting it all together and seeing how it shakes out, there could be more tidbits of information. There could be more things that pop up. So I'm definitely waiting till the last minute, Kenny. This is obviously before that. Right now it's Tuesday night around 9 Eastern. Keep that in mind. Circle back. Kenny does his thing over at Gups Corner. I'm going to have my stuff over at Run Pure Sports. You're going to be able to get more information from us specifically if you want it. But I just think there's other stuff out there, and just pay attention till the last minute. That's going to be my biggest piece of advice.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be important. I mean, let's go about these pods that we saw today. Now, things can easily change. But what we saw today in the practice round pairings for the United States, we had in one 4-group pod, they had Bryson, Scheffler, Spieth, and Thomas. I think you can go ahead and pencil in Spieth and Thomas. They're going to at least start the event. I mean, the thing is, I don't know how Stricker's going to go about this. Does he have a set plan? Or if he sees struggles and he sees the hot hand, will he go with that? That's the way I would captain a team. If I see the hot hand, that's where I'm going to go. If I see the hot pairing, that's where I'm going to go. And the next quad is going to be Cantlay, DJ, Morikawa, Xander. I think we're going to see DJ Kawa. I think we're going to see Cantlay, Schauffele again. And let's go to the next one. Berger, English, Finau, Koepka. when you look at the Americans, it looks like Stricker's really going out and pairing the people that he thinks are going to play together. We'll talk a little bit more about these pods, but let me go to the Euro side. Now, the Euro side, I think Patty's trying to pull the wool over Stricker's eyes. I don't think these three pods of four mean anything. I do not think these guys are going to be playing together. I mean, it's possible. I know Sky on the show earlier today, he has a lot of the pairings from these groups, but I don't know if these guys are going to be playing together. I mean, you look at it here, you got Rahm, Lowry, Hatton, Fleetwood. I mean, Sky has Rahm and Hatton playing together this week. I mean, if that happens, Please. My God! Well, here's what needs to happen. Okay, what needs to happen is they play the Rahm and Hatton captain's agreement. Rahm and Hatton go ahead and play together. And the news coming out of the U.S. camp is it looks like Koepka and Bryson have made amends. Bryson said they had dinner, they talked it over, and there's something special coming up soon. What if that something special is them playing together? Can you imagine the first match of the fucking Ryder Cup? Bryson, Koepka, Hatton, Rahm? I would lose my shit. There would be absolute chaos.
You still ready for that?
It would be absolute fucking chaos. I would go crazy. I would be in front of my TV like this just all fucking day. It's like, oh my God. And it would just be fucking unbelievable. Unbelievable. I don't think it's going to happen. But goddamn it, I wish it would. Anyways, the next pod for the Europeans is going to be Casey, Fitzpatrick, Poulter, Byrne. Next one, Garcia, Hovland, McIlroy, Westwood. I don't even think we need to talk about the Euros because I don't think this proves anything for them. For the United States, I think this is the way Stricker's going to go. So first thing I want to talk about is that first U.S. pod, Bryson, Scheffler, Spieth, Thomas. You know Spieth and Thomas are going to play together. Here's the big thing. The initial match in the morning is going to be 4-ball, which is best ball, where everyone plays their best ball. It's what the United States has been better at. They suck at alternate shot. So the U.S. gets to pick which one gets to start the event. And so, of course, they went 4-ball. It's a smart move. If Scheffler and Bryson are paired together, the one thing that I will say when it comes to a DFS perspective is these guys can go out there and win like 6-4. I mean, here's the thing, like, you know, usually when they do these groupings on the first day, the captains play their best teams first and last. Okay, and so you go ahead and throw Bryson and Scheffler in the second or third hole that week, playing against the third or fourth team that they want for the Europeans. I mean, it's possible. It's possible that they get the shit kicked out of them, but it's also possible that they fucking whoop ass like 6-4, 5-3. I mean, Scheffler. Top 10 in birdie average on the tour. Very aggressive player. You got Bryson, who can hit it 3-4 club lengths farther than the Europeans and have crazy low iron, short irons onto these greens. And he's a damn good putter if he really gets into it. He's coming off a pretty fucking good FedEx Cup, losing to Cantlay at the BMW. Now, if that happens from a DFS point of view, I'm sort of jumping ahead. We all know how DFS is working this week on DraftKings with the captain's pick and the scoring, 3 points for a winning hole, 0.75 for a half, minus 0.75 for a loss, and then a whole bunch of bonuses. Scheffler's pretty cheap. If I'm not mistaken, where is he? He is he 8,700?
No, that's the captain price.
No, yeah, it's a captain. He's $5,800. Here's the thing: if they go out and whoop that ass, does Stricker have the balls to sit him in alternate shot? I know alternate shot they're not going to be as strong, but coming off that wave. And another thing about Bryson is, he wants to be loved. Everyone knows this, right? He wants to be loved. He wants to be, have that adulation on him. The easiest way for that to happen and people to forget about, at least sort of forget about what happened in the past, is to go crazy and win a cup for the United States. Imagine if Patrick Reed wasn't Captain America. Like, everyone in the world would hate him. He would have zero fans. You know what I'm saying? None. But because of what he did in 2014, 2016, 2018, or maybe you could skip 2018 probably, but 2014 and 2016, people still love him for that. They love him for that. And that can happen for Bryson. If Bryson's in the captain's year, trying to get that in there, making amends with Koepka, this is his chance. This is his chance. And all the bullshit that you've heard about him, he's training for the Long Drive Championship. He had those blisters all over his hand. Those quotes are from 2 to 3 weeks ago. It was an article written this week, but the quote was from 2 to 3 weeks ago. He had pictures of his hands on social media today. They're fine. Callous. That's it. Of course, he's going to have callous hands because of the amount he practices. He is full bore for this. He better be full bore for this because this is the best way for him to improve his image. And I think if they can go out and whoop that fucking ass in the beginning, Scheffler could be a solid captain's pick, and you might have to just stack both of them up, playing at least four events. What do you think? Any talk on this first pairing, on this first quad?
Yeah, first off, on the overall side, I like what you said there. I do think that Harrington could just be doing whatever on that side because the Euros can all sort of play together. They're not too worried about it. That's part of the camaraderie of the Europeans. They all just come together. Whatever you say, coach, we'll go make it happen. They're more about that team atmosphere. We've seen it in the past plenty, and I know there's some really sharp folks that are on the Euros this week that I would, consider sharp, that I like that call and their angle, but I can see this U.S. team doing it too. I think it's going to be close, first off, when we're talking about it. Back to this side with what Stricker's doing, he's talked about it the whole way, Kenny, about being very particular about practice and prep and getting ready for it. I think it's like you said. These are the pairings. They're in there somewhere, however you want to shake it out. So with Bryson and Scheffler, I think it's like you said. What would their nickname be? It couldn't be Mollywood, but what would you compare them to? Do you have a nickname for them if they do go out and whoop that ass?
I mean, the Dallas boys, right? They're both from Dallas. The Texas twosome. I don't know, something like that.
There you go. Yeah, now we're getting onto it. So there you go. I was going to say something like that. So I'm with you there. I think that's important to note, like you said. But the worry is, I also have seen some people. I think Ben Coley. I can't remember exactly, but someone was on the under 2.5 for Bryson. Cited some pretty good reasons why they could think that. It's more about
he could just fuck it up, and because his Ryder Cup record is not great. But
I actually worry about it more the other way.
Totally different player now.
Right.
Totally different player.
But I worry more about it the other way, to your other point, is even if they go out and do their thing, it's still Bryson. It's not like this American team isn't deep as hell. You got a ton of other guys. So no matter how good, they absolutely have to crush to even get that consideration. Because Scheffler is also sort of like considered the last man in. So does Stricker want to go above board and say, okay, I'm still doing it and rolling these to continue? Like, that's where you got to think about it with Scheffler.
Well, here's the thing. If they go out and whoop that, maybe Stricker's first day is locked. Okay. Everyone needs to follow Fried Egg Pauly on Twitter. He's super sharp. One of the sharpest guys out there. He put a list of what he thought the teams would be. And for best ball, in the morning, it'd be Thomas and Spieth, Xander Cantlay, Bryson, Scheffler, Koepka, Finau. Okay, and then for the alternate shot, he thinks it's Spieth, JT, Xander Cantlay again, Berger, English, DJ Morikawa. Now that Berger, English, that's the one that I can see somebody getting hot in that morning. That Koepka Finau group is another one that I really, really like. That can maybe whoop that ass. And I like Finau a little bit for just a sleeper type guy for betting purposes and for DFS. Now, the thing is, maybe this is set. But if those guys struggle in that alternate shot on Friday afternoon, and they got to start with the alternate shot again on Saturday morning, do you go bet? You got to switch it up, right? You have to switch it up.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. The challenge is they are so deep, though.
And they might crush. Bryson might they might have to sit the afternoon on Friday, but then be able to still get 4 rounds. 4 matches in. And it's not like JT and Spieth are like auto locks. JT, can he make a putt? Can JT make a fucking putt? You know what I'm saying? This is what the Ryder Cup's about, right? The Ryder Cup is about who makes the most fucking putts at the most fucking absolute important time. JT's been one of the shittiest putters out there for at least the last 6 months. Okay? It's not like they are locked in for a W for the first 2. What if they go 0-2? Can you play them the next day? There's so many different decisions going through, and I can't imagine being captain for this thing because there's a lot of pressure. Stricker I don't know. We'll see. He's like the quiet guy, I mean, he's not too boisterous. He's not like, Ben Crenshaw. I got a fucking feeling, he's not hazing her out there. He's a little bit different. And so, we have to see that. So let's go on with a little bit more of these pods. Now, if you look at the second grouping, I think Morikawa DJs makes a whole bunch of sense, and Cantlay and Schauffele. Okay, Xander and Cantlay are going to be incredibly popular in DFS.
Yes.
So here's the worry. Okay, if they play 5 matches, they played at the President's Cup together. They were 2-0 in alternate shot, 0-2 in best ball. What if they go out in the morning and get fucking train wrecked and just lose? That would mean there would be 0-3 in best ball. I guess you still have to play them in the alternate shot because they're good at that. But then the next day, do you play them in 4 balls again when they've never won a 4-ball match ever?
Right.
These are the decisions that Stricker has to make, and this is why it's so fucking difficult to try and do this on a DFS level. I think the 2 groups that people aren't talking about that could play 4 matches minimum. 4 matches, I think, are DJ Kawa, Koepka Finau, and Scheffler Bryson. I think all of those make sneaky stacks and throw the cheaper guy as your captain's pick in DraftKings. Again, you have to wait until Thursday night because the way you got to make sure that these guys are playing, because it's possible that like Koepka's, Stricker goes out and sees Scheffler and Bryson practicing and they suck and he just sits there. That's possible too. I mean, it's really tough trying to figure everything out. Everything we're saying today is fucking conjecture. Okay. And then even when we see what happens on Thursday night, we don't know what's going to happen in the other 3 rounds because the other three, match play scenario that they have throughout the rest of the week. But I think those 3 groups that I just listed, especially the Scheffler, group. I think, you throw Scheffler out there, $8,500 as a captain, you could basically make whatever the fucking team you want. What about the other 2 groups? I mean, I think those are what we're going to see for the United States. Do you have any difference of opinion there?
No, but the one I actually like the most is the Morikawa play. DJ Morikawa, I think, is just a fantastic spot that stands out. When people aren't on Cantlay X, they'll be on Spieth Thomas. Like those are the most 2 to me that popular that stand out just people expect guaranteed. But I love that call you just had with the X Cantlay, and it's already a good game theory piece because it'll be one of the most popular, if not the most popular, like you said, where yes, they have to keep them together. The reason they're mostly together, like you said, is for alternate shot. So if they lose the 4 ball and they go out and have to play their alternate shot, there's no guarantee they get that 3rd run together. And that'd be a lot of teams busted up, especially if they lose the first one. Even if they win the second, you think, oh, they get the confidence back, and then they don't get to go, or they lose the next. I don't know. It's tough to say. Like you said, a lot of conjecture, but I do think that one for me seems like a pretty easy pairing to just be light on or go off of completely, just on the point of it, playing something different. And we haven't even talked about the fact that the Euro side, if that happens, that means there's a Euro win. There's more points going over there. There's ways that you can just go double leverage, where instead of just saying, oh, I'm going to pivot off that group to another American group, why not pivot off to the European side, the team that maybe plays them first, especially if you think it's a team that could stay together. Now you've got ultimate leverage on everything. You hope for them to do bad. You got the team that hopefully beats them, and then they want to keep them together and go again and get their extra and play their 4 or 5 rounds. And now you've got plenty of points stacking up. Well, a lot of lineups are sinking with Cantlay and X.
Here's the thing about Xander and Cantlay one more time. They went 2-0 in alternate shot against internationals, not the Europeans. The alternate shot is a European strength out there. They whoop our asses every time in alternate shot. So, and they lost both their 4 balls to the internationals. Okay. So they go out there, lose a 4 ball in the morning, get whopped by the internationals in the alternate shot. Do you play them again?
That's what
Do you play them again? They're 0-2 already. They've cost you 2 points. Do you play them again? Can you play them again, Steve Stricker? In either one? I don't know. I don't know. Do you have to switch things up the next day? Yes. That's what's going to have to happen. I mean, if they lose those first 2 matches, it's possible they only get 3 matches each. Unlikely. But I mean, like, what if the other teams are balling out?
Yeah.
I don't see a lock for Xander and Cantlay to play 5 matches. I do not even think it's close. I think the only lock to play 5 is JT and Spieth. I think that is the only lock on the United States team right now to play 5 matches. And I think everyone knows that. And then Spieth is like 0-6 in singles in team competition. I don't think he's ever won a singles match. So do you play Spieth as a captain, or do you pay way the fuck up and pay what? $14,100 for Justin Thomas at captain just to be safe? But then who else are you going to be able to fucking roster that way? I mean, you can make teams like that. It's not impossible. Don't get me wrong, especially when you have guys down below, like a Scheffler at 5,800, like a Lowry at 6,000. If Rahm and Hatton do play together, I mean, I think Rahm is okay. Let's go to the Euro side real quick. I think Rahm is a lock to play 5. I think Rory is a lock to play 5, and I think Hovland is close at 4 or 5. Like, those are the only 3 that I can see definitely on the European side playing. And you know what? It might be worth going in that direction instead. You know, instead of going JT as your virtual lock as a captain playing 5, go Rory, save the $300. You know what I'm saying? Go Hovland, save the $1,500. And the thing is, when it comes to these pairings of the year, I literally have no clue. I have no clue. I was expecting that Rahm and Sergio would play together to keep that Spanish, pride going. You saw with, Seve and Jose Maria and Sergio, and now Sergio and Rahm. You just sort of see it stack up after decades of Ryder Cup play. But I think Sky on the previous podcast, which everyone should listen to. I mean, the European Tour Bets and Picks show on the Mayo Media Network with Sky and Tom. Make sure you check that out because they're probably sharper than us. At least me. Maybe not Tambo. At least me. And so, he's saying that he thinks they're not going to play together. He thinks Sky thinks Hatton and Rahm are going to play together, which is unbelievable in my mind. I mean, it's just I'm getting antsy just fucking thinking about that fucking roster and club snapped in half like Bo Jackson over the helmet and shit like that. I could see that fucking happening, and that'd be unbelievable. But I think when we talk about the Euros, we have to talk about the people that we think are going to play 4 to 5. And I think the 4, I'll add Shane Lowry as the 4th. So Lowry, Hovland, Rory, Rahm are my picks to be, and Lowry could be the sleeper because you get Lowry at, let me look at his captain's pick, $9K. Him and Scheffler are in that same type of range. And I could see Lowry out there playing. Lowry ain't no slouch. These could be open championship conditions. He won at Firestone, a long-ass course. I could see Lowry doing pretty fucking well in this event because, it's like his dream. I think he even said that this is like bigger than winning an open championship. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if he was being for real about that, but, that's what you got to figure out. So before we get into strategy, Tamo, anything about the Euro side?
I think, he talked about a lot of it, but I do think, like you said, it makes it really hard to predict. The one guy you left out, I think that I kind of like here is Fleetwood. I know it was only a one-time appearance, the Mollywood thing that we brought up earlier, no Molly this time, totally different situation. But I don't think it's, again, I think this is kind of a spot that's, I don't want to say built for him because we're talking about Tommy Fleetwood here. I'm just saying I can see him having continued success in this format because it's not the same as having to close a PGA Tour event or anything in the sense of the individual side. I think he feels better about the team aspect. And of note, at that Ryder Cup, 2-0 in 4 balls, foursomes, and then the one loss was in singles. So it just goes to show again, like it's sort of that setup where it just suits him well. And I don't know who he would be with. I don't know, like Hatton, Lowry, Hovland. I don't know who they're pairing him up with. But I think
have no clue.
That's the thing. You have no idea. But I think he could be a play that you could end up seeing get all those rounds, or at least 4 rounds where he gets in the mix. I think he's a very interesting play. I love the Lowry call that you brought up. I got a couple bets on him this week. And I think Hovland is like X. And I think it was funny because I think it was Josh Perry. And I think you even commented on it. Like, you may as well just parlay them together. Everyone's got these two as the locks. And the way you said it about X and Cantlay earlier is how I'd say about a lot of things about this week is, what seem, they're definitely not a lock. You said it's unlikely. Sure, I agree. But it's definitely possible that these things don't happen that everyone thinks automatically happen. So to me, that's where I like the little bit of an edge you can get in DFS by just play a little more Euros. Everyone's talking about these Americans. Even the people that like Euros are still talking about American players in DFS because the pairings. You have to take on some of the uncertainty. You have to wait for Thursday night. You have to be willing to go with some of these Euro pairings. And then you can still throw JT in because he will be the only points. Like in the example, let's say Euro just stomps them. JT could still be the only guy that shows up for his country and puts up the points on that side, and you can still have him in your lineup because he's the point scorer for that side. It's definitely possible. So I think that's how you got to look at things. I think
that happened at the 2018 Ryder Cup. I mean, I think he was 4-1. Justin Thomas was for that week. So yeah, I mean, it definitely happened, even if they get crushed, and that can happen on the other side too. Say the Americans, where everyone thinks the Americans are the favorite on paper. I mean, they are the favorite on paper. There's no fucking doubt. But the last 5 times they were favored they were 1-4, I think, or something like that, or not favored, but had something like either favored or had a higher world golf ranking average or something like that. They're 1-4 the last 5 times that happened. This is not going to be as easy as some people think for the Americans. So, I mean, I don't know. But let's move on to some strategy aspects for this week. I think the first thing we got to talk about is going to be stacking. This is the first time, like in the NFL, you can stack guys on the same team, and they're going to earn the same amount of points. But that's sort of what you want. You get that team that goes ham. You stack Mollywood last time. I mean, there wasn't a DFS in the Ryder Cup, but you stack Francisco and you stack Fleetwood. You're going to be way up there, right? And I have one of them as a captain's pick, and that's something that I would look at this week when you go Thursday night and they release that first day pairings. I would pick a couple, depending on how many lineups you have. If you're going 150, whatever, 300, whatever, something like that, I would use stacks of every single one of those guys that you have, and making all your lineups. Now, if you're doing single entry, 3 max, pick your favorite. Pick the one that you think is going to do the best. And I would start your lineup with a stack, with one of them being a captain's pick. I just think that's the most optimal way to go. And are you going to win that way? I don't know. But scoring optimally wise, I think that is the way to go. And again, we're just taking guesses here because if people suck, they might not even play more. If JT fucking Speed go 0-2 the first day, you're going to play him the next day. If Xander and Cantlay go 0-2 the first day, you're going to play him the next day. We don't know. But optimally, to give you the best chance to get the most points, I think that is the way to go this week, is stacking teammates in one. Once you see that first morning session lineup released.
Yeah, I definitely like that. I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but like the Zurich Classic, when they did this, the idea was pretty obvious. They're going to play as the team the whole time. You put the cheaper guy in the captain slot because it's equal points.
But you wouldn't get points for both in Zurich, right? There was no stacking. You couldn't get points for both, right?
There was no point, right? That's what I'm saying. But the way you did it was just put the cheap guy in. Here, points for both, but I'm saying then they also play singles matches. One guy could run the table. So just if people are thinking that's not the right way either. So that's why I wanted to make sure to tie that in. I love your call. I think, like you said, my biggest thing that I'll be looking at is doing that and just going off the board with it, like a different game. It's almost like football. You and I said this today over text, and we were sort of getting ready for the show, and I was just shooting some ideas back and forth with you and kind of like setting up a game script in the aforementioned showdown where I'm the Millie Maker champion. I have to chime that in one more time, but where you had to set up the game script, you're almost doing it here where you're saying, okay, X and Cantlay play against these two guys. I actually think these two guys, whoever they may be, are going to play a bunch, especially if they knock off these two. So why not just flip it and plug them in? And then you double down on the setup, and now you can fill it in with your JTs and whatever else you want to go with it.
Love that. Because first off, DraftKings, mostly United States, it's going to be fucking America heavy because there's so much of a favorite. Everyone's going to roster so many more Americans this week overall in these big tourneys. Your plan is brilliant. You go out because, Xander Cantlay could possibly be a fade for me. Look, they can go out and whoop that ass. But like I said, they were 3-2 in Europe or in the President's Cup. They won their 2 alternate shots. They lost their 2 4-balls. Okay. Euro, better at alternate shot. Okay. And then they're 0-2. Xander Cantlay 0-2 in their career in 4-balls. So you go out there, the group that is playing against Xander and Cantlay, that's your stack. That's your captain. Love it. Love that as a game theory play to start on DraftKings. Love having more Euros than Americans on your play just to be different, because with the captain's picks, there can be with only 24 players. The captain's pick adds a lot more, different types of lineups available. So it's not as tiny as some people would think when it comes to getting dupes. There's going to be dupes, and I would expect the majority of them are going to be American heavy. Now, personally, I'm getting ahead of myself here. I think the Euros win. I'm betting the Euros. I bet the Euros weeks ago. This is just what they do, especially now with the weather, especially now with the wind. And Stricker showing his cards so early, that he knows what their teams are going to be, and he can sort of analytically wise build his teams to go against certain ways of the way US is going to go. So I am going to be rostering a ton of Euros. I would probably go 4-2 for the most of it. Now, what do you think about triple stack? Doing 2-2-2. Is that possible for you? Is that optimal, or are you going to mix and match after the first stack?
I think I'm going to mix and match. Like I'll look and see, because you just don't know. I guess I would have 2. I guess what I'd be saying is I'd be doing a 2 or a 4-1-1, like a double stack of 2 stacks that I like, and then whoever fills it out as far as guys that I think can score well. But just going back for 1 second, just to change the subject quickly, is the X Cantlay is one, but just being, like you mentioned a little bit, but being comfortable, being uncomfortable, and that's kind of the idea here. Like JT and Spieth are going to get the matches. We know this. We expect it. It's likely to happen. The cards have been shown. It's all going to be there. They could lose both of their first 2 matches. So going against them in the same sense, I know it'll only be one matchup against them, but I'm saying they lose that. They lose the second. Everyone says, well, I played them because they were going to get 5 matches or at least 4. But if they suck in them and lose a couple of them, and then they don't do well on their own or whatever it might be, you never know. So I'm just saying I'm okay with it. I'm not going to sit here and have FOMO. This is going to be my way. Like I said, you're not going to get 100-1 long shot at the Ryder Cup very often. So the way to get to the $100,000 in something like the $10 tournament is try and do it this way via a sort of daily fantasy parlay of players together that are going to be in a unique sense against what others are doing. So I'm going to pick my spots that way. I'm also with you on the Euros. I'm not betting it. I don't care enough, and it's not a big enough number. I'm not that big of a fan to be like, oh, I have to bet against the Americans. I'm not that guy either. So I don't care that much. I'm going to watch and enjoy, like you said, from that. I've got a couple bets for sure. I got 3 bets I really like. 2 of them involve the same guy. We'll get to that later. But I would say this. I'm going to build my lineups to try and ship, and not to just make, I think Cantlay and X went to Napa and sipped wine and they're good friends and they played together and they've been good in the past. I better build that lineup. I don't care. If that ships, I'll move on to next week happily, because I'm not going to go all in on Ryder Cup week. I don't think it's that crazy, but I'll certainly have enough lineups to try and gain my edge. I'm going to play it the way that we're talking about, and that's how I'm looking at it, Kenny. For me, more Euros, putting guys in opposite of the more popular Americans, and then seeing how it shakes out from there.
I have a lot more faith in Spieth and JT than I do in Xander and Cantlay. So I don't think I can leave those guys out. I will have Spieth JT stacks. There's no doubt in my mind, but it's possible that I don't play Xander and Cantlay this week at all. 0 of them. And either I'm going to lose everything or I'm going to be on the good side because they're going to be uber popular this week because of, I guess, what they did in the President's Cup. They're playing good golf too. Don't get me wrong. They're coming in, they're playing good golf. But I mean, like, form, I'm not worried too much about form, especially short form. Longer form, a little worried about JT's putting. I'm definitely, they can lose because JT can't fucking make a putt. That could definitely happen. Now, should we go over any other strategy tidbits that we're going to go through?
I don't think there's more strategy. I just think a lot of it ties in already together. I guess it just ties into the picks because, the point we just brought up, it just sort of ends up that I'm on the other guy's opposite that side. And then the other one I would bring up, I mentioned it earlier, but just to give, sort of two favorite American picks in a sense, because I think, like you said, they're going to be paired up. They're going to go out at least, on the first day. So it looks like would be DJ Morikawa. And the thing I'm thinking about there is like, what if they crush and go off? It just makes a lot of sense. They're both extremely good players. They suit the course very well. Morikawa suits every course. DJ's got his history. I think there's just a spot to go to here where if they run shit, it's very easy to put those two back out again, use them a couple times, and then imagine playing against DJ one-on-one in singles. And same with Morikawa. We've seen Morikawa dust JT at the workday in a 3-hole playoff after a bomb in front of his face went off for 56 feet and then still came back and won. So you think these guys are scared? They're not. And I think that's a combo on the American side that will be less owned than Spieth Thomas and less owned than Cantlay X. And I just love that because I think it just makes so much sense. And it's again, the Americans are just so deep that it's hard not to say this about all the combos, but I do suspect them to be the third highest owned of the three stacks on the American side that I can think of.
Well, the thing you said earlier about playing Xander and Cantlay's opponent in the first round, stacking them and captaining them, I think you can also do that against JT and Spieth's opponent as well. So I think that is something to definitely go about way you're thinking, when you're making your lineups late Thursday night. Because I don't know exactly what time those things are coming out, but it's not coming out during the day. It's not going to help us out. So my guess is going to be 7:30, 8 o'clock Eastern time when those pairings come out. So if you're doing 150 lineups, hopefully you have an optimizer or a lineup generator. I know Gub's Corner has a Ryder Cup optimizer lineup generator this week. So you might want to check it out. Now, we usually do our tiers here. But I don't feel like doing this, and I'm literally just making this on the top of my head. I haven't even told Tambo that this is what I'm thinking we should do. I think when it comes to the tiers, I think we should each pick the one guy we want as the captain pick in each price range. Does that sound good to you, Tambo? How we go with these tiers?
Yeah, I'm fine with whatever. I think, like I said, it comes down to, again, what we talked about. There's going to be more strategy to it. Once you plug in the Euro captains against, like a Euro captain and a partner against ex Cantlay, your lineup also kind of has to tell some of that story that the Euros are going to win. So I'm probably going 2 more Euros on top of maybe 2 on the other side, just thinking how it's going to shake out. If you're just going with one of the guys from that pairing, then it's up to you. But I mean, I would be stacking. So yeah, let's do that. Let's roll through it and see what it looks like.
9K range: Patrick Cantlay, Rory McIlroy, Justin Thomas, Jon Rahm. Who are you going with your captain?
Well, we're talking 14,000 down, right? Because we're talking captain pricing.
I'm just going with the pricing
the normal pricing, and then we'll call it against it.
Actually, that's a good idea. Let's just go straight captain pricing then. So I'm just doing 4 I'm going to do 4 at a time. So let's keep it tight. So I'm just going to go on those 4 guys to start.
Yeah, and like I said, that one tells the story from everything we've talked about already. Mm-hmm. I'll likely be going, if I'm going from this range, I'll be going Rahm or Rory, because I'm definitely going to be playing against Cantlay and X and JT and Spieth. And if I use JT I will use, but I would use it differently where, like I said, we're just going off of the 2018 Ryder Cup where he's the ultimate point scorer, but we're talking captain. So that may not happen. There'd be the very unique lineup where you could go JT captain and then a bunch of Euros and just say, look, JT puts up all the points for that side, and then the Euros that you get 4 and 5 matches, and then whoever you land on for the final spot, so be it. But that would be the way to go, where JT just runs the table as the best golfer in the Ryder Cup, but he happens to be on the losing squad and the other guys show up. I'm just giving some ideas here, but for sure, looking at it from the other side, I do like those other guys more.
JT had the second most points at the Ryder Cup in 2018, and they lost by like 6.5 points.
Right.
They got fucking ass whooped. I like that. shit, that might change our mind. Do like a JT Spieth stack. JT is your captain, and then go like Lowry and some other guys on the 4 euros out there. I like that. I like
it more if you go like JT and not Spieth, and say sort of like.
Oh, okay, and it's not, because I mean they're going to play together. I don't think we're going to see them separate.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like if it happens, you could still have the Euros on the 4 more expensive Euros that get the full matches. And if they do crush by a lot, it's just Thomas. But that's why I said it would be more of a flex play for me in that scenario. If like I was leaving Spieth out, if I was leaving Spieth out, I would go like flex with them.
That would be like the non-stack super contrarian lineup.
Yeah, you could go like
everyone's going to stack.
We're going to get there. That's why I said this format's not the best for it.
I like that. So,
but let's say you have a Lowry and a Fleetwood play together. Lowry and Fleetwood play together. You end up with one of them cheaper in the captain. Now you've got the stacked up expensive Euros that likely get 4 to 5 back. Maybe Rory Rahm, JT is the top scorer, and whoever you land on for the cheapie, your guys like that. Like now I got.
So you're saying roster JT, but not in the captain.
If I'm going without Spieth, because I'm just saying he doesn't do it. Maybe they win one match, whatever, but they crush in that matchup, but then they lose the next couple, then he wins his singles by a big handily amount, like something like that.
Well, Spieth is 0-6 in his singles, so I mean they could go 4-0, and then Spieth loses one, or they can go to 3-1, and then JT wins his singles is 4-1, and Spieth loses it, and he's 3-2. That's a pretty, there's a decent point difference there, and then you have some Euros that go 4-1. You get the 1 euro that goes 5-0. The one thing about going 5-0, there's only been 4 golfers in the history of the Ryder Cup that's gone 5-0 since it's been in this format. Not likely to happen. It happened in 1967. Arnold Palmer and Gardner Dickinson did it both in the same year. What else did it happen? Larry Nelson in 1979 and Molinari. The last time. Those are the only 4 guys ever gone 5-0 at the Ryder Cup in the history of the event. So it's pretty fucking difficult. Someone's going to lose probably, or at least tie one or something like that. But I like that. I'm with you on Rahm, and I think just I don't know. This is tough for me. I'm just going to go ahead and put JT in there in my captain spot in this range, because he's the one. I feel like he's known. This is his shit. He has that European mind frame when it comes to the Ryder Cup, unlike a lot of other people that it comes to on this team. That's the one chalk guy that I think I do not mind playing captain. So I'll go ahead and put JT there. Let's go on to the next range. The next range is going to be, let's just go and pick Bryson, Dustin Johnson, Hovland, Xander, Spieth.
Go here. DJ for sure. Like I said, I already think that's a possibility. So I like that. And then if we're looking down, like I said, Hovland's going to be popular, but if I'm going the Euro side, I think that's a fine one as well. Mm-hmm. So probably Hovland, DJ, and then I don't know if you said Morikawa if he fits in there, but I'd be interested.
No, he's the next range.
Yeah. So Hovland and DJ for me, and mainly on the premise that even though Hovland's popular, it's like you said, I think naturally people put in more Americans, and I don't know how many they put at captain. So he's definitely a guy that I could use in that range as well.
I'm going Bryson on this one. I am definitely going to go Bryson for this, just because I just got a feeling. I think if him and Scheffler go out on Friday morning, whoop ass, they'll play twice on Friday or twice on Saturday. He'll get 4 matches in. And he could. What if he goes 4-0? I mean, is that better than the guy who goes 4-1? I'm not sure. It's probably going to be better than a guy who goes 3-2. So I like Bryson. I got a feeling the way he's playing coming into here, he's a different Bryson than he was at the Ryder Cup. I think him and Scheffler make a really, really strong 4-ball team. I think they can make noise in that morning section. And if it happens, Stricker is going to have to pay attention and play them more than people thought. Before we get into the next range, Tambo, do we have something we need to talk about?
Yeah, before we get into the next range, I want to bring you guys the offer. We talked about it earlier from DraftKings Sportsbook. The world will be watching as the golfers head to Wisconsin, and DraftKings, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is giving you a shot to land in the green. This week, DraftKings is giving new customers $150 in free bets instantly if you bet $1 on any golfer. If you haven't tried DraftKings Sportsbook, now is the time. Place a pre-tournament wager of $1 on any golfer, and DraftKings Sportsbook is giving you $150 instantly. An offer like this doesn't come around often, so sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook now to get in on all the action. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable, and the best part is you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. So download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code FGD when you sign up to turn $1 into $150 in free bets if you place a pre-tournament wager of $1 on any golfer. That's code FGD to turn $1 into $150 in free bets for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, NJIN or PA only, new customers only. Winnings paid out in site credits. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or in Indiana, 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
All right, so let's get to this next range. We have Sergio, Finau, Koepka, Morikawa, Fleetwood. Now, before we get into this, one thing I noticed, I mean, this makes, what, €5 above $7,000 irregular price. That means the other 7 are all in the $6K range. Is it possible that these cheap Euros are going to be way more popular than we think? They have to be, right? Because of their pricing?
The unknowns. I was going to bring that up when we got down here. I know we're saying who could be a captain play up top, but I still think, just from my thoughts early on, just sitting here until we get those groups and see what we get more information from, people are still going to want to play these expensive guys. Like, they'll want their value play when they get to it. So there'll be a lot of really cheap value play captain lineups. And then there'll be a lot of, I want to get my JT in or my Spieth or something like that. And then they'll use those cheap plays in the flex. So I know it's, 2 different ways to do it.
Is
but
DraftKings forcing us to pick these Euros? I mean, it seems
that's
like
what I'm saying, right? But then people may get uncomfortable with it and say, well, I'm not going with Westwood, Wiesberger, any of these guys. All go up. What I do think, though, the range you just gave me is the range that I like for captains, because I think, like I said, people either want to get the top guys in and then use the cheap values, or they want to use one of the cheap values to jam all the top guys in. So going with something like in this range, I like Fleetwood. I like Morikawa. I think there's room to be, like use a lot of these guys in here. Who else do we got? Finau, right? Any of those 3. If you think Finau's sneaky, I know you talked about this the other day. I'll leave that one for you. But if you think he could be a guy that gets in there, these are all mid-tier guys that if they go out and get hot, could not only be involved more than you think, but also could crush in singles. They could just be better at that and come out and just tune the other guy up and have a lot of points scored from that, as well as sort of a way to round out and finish things out and make your lineup go to the top.
Yeah, I mean, if Friday Paulie's right, Koepka and Finau go out first. I like Finau a lot as a captain's pick down here. I am a fan. He would probably be my favorite, and I like Kawa as well, but Finau would probably be my number 1 when it comes down to it. Now, let's get to this sort of bottom range. This is where all the Euros are. We have the next range of 5 is going to be Lowry, Hatton, Poulter, Berger, Casey. Now, the thing about this is the way the pricing is on DraftKings, it looks like they're forcing us to pick some of these Euros down below. I think the way that you can distinguish yourself is by using one of these Euros as your captain. And the captain that I'm going to pick, and I think probably you're going to pick in this range, is Shane Lowry. I think we both like Shane. I think if he comes out that first day, plays that, he's in that Thursday morning group, I think he's going to be in a lot of my captain pick for DraftKings. What about the same thing for you?
Yeah, what I will say, though, just to tie into it, because that one might be obvious, and that's the guy I mentioned earlier. When we get to bets, I definitely like some Shane Lowry bets for good reason, I think, this week. But I think he can be utilized for sure for 4. I think that makes sense. I think he could score the most points for the Euros. I definitely love, and we're getting ahead of ourselves, but we might as well. The show's already off the rails when it comes to format. But I do think that he's a great play this week, a great bet, I should say. I got him at plus 275 for top Euro rookie. And it's basically him and Hovland is what you're battling, and the whole world's on Hovland. So why not try and take that as value. There's definitely merit there that he could be out there more often. There's definitely, a great player there in Shane Lowry. If the format, the weather, the wind, all those things are setting up nicely for him, I think he's a great play. Now, with that said, going back to daily fantasy, going back to DraftKings pricing and captain strategy, if it is Hatton and Rahm that comes out as a group, I absolutely love moving shares off of Lowry at captain, no matter who he's with, over to Hatton for the little bit more money. He's 9,300 in the captain over 9,000, plugging in Rahm, who differentiates you from JT at the top. Even if you want to use JT, you've got money. I'm just saying, if you want to go off that, and especially if they're playing JT and Spieth, can you, what if that's the starting point? That's the ultimate spot to do it, because we know Lowry's going to be popular not only in the captain but in flex. Especially in flex, he's still popular because of how cheap he is, and everyone's talking him up. I'm happy to go to Hatton if he's paired with someone I like, or who knows, maybe it's Rory and Hatton versus JT and Spieth. I love that. I'll still go with it. I'll go with Hatton, Rory, and roll it out something different on the other side.
Okay, here's the one thing I'll say about that. If Hatton plays with Rahm and Sky's right, don't you think that Hatton will be super popular for captain's pick? Like one of the most popular.
This is what we're saying, though. We're going to get the information. So if that's what you feel like, then do it. But again, not everyone can play everybody. So
what if it's Hatton,
put it this way. Put it this way.
Lowry.
Even if that's the group, before I answer your question, even if that's the group, who's more popular, Rahm or JT? Even if the group is Rahm and Hatton, I still think JT's more popular.
Yes, but I mean, everyone's going to be trying to get that cheap captain play, and Spieth is way more than these guys.
But then you're telling me that Hatton's going to be this most popular captain because of that grouping. But if they're not stacking,
I think it's possible that he could be one of the more popular, maybe not the most popular, but he could be maybe the most popular pick under 8K.
But if they're playing JT,
flex price.
If they're playing against JT, then people won't put JT in that lineup. So if you think that, I mean, then JT is a great play because less people will be on JT if he's going to be so popular. If Hatton's going to be so popular and they're playing against them, then he's going to be that. It's all game theory, and it's all we have to have the information. Yeah. I get what you're saying, but what I'm saying is I'm praying that it's Hatton, Rahm versus JT and Spieth, because I just think that would be more popular. People want to play JT and Spieth. They're going to look at the whole picture of getting 4 and 5 rounds. Like I said, I think that's the thing. We know the JT Spieth group. Congrats. You figured out the group everybody fucking knew forever. You don't have all the information of who they're playing, what that's going to look like, what the ownership's going to be. And you're pegging them that because you picked them as the right group, which we all know that they're winning everything together because they're getting all these they could lose twice. And it's just, yes, it's true. They're getting the match, but they could get blown out twice. You have no idea how it's going to shake out. So that's where the issue is when people are saying that. Like I said, congrats on knowing they're a pairing. We all knew it. You're acting like they're winning everything when you're putting them together and like that. That's how people are talking about it. That's not the case. Same with Cantlay and X, who you made a great case for earlier. So against. So that's what I'm trying to bring up here.
Yeah, I mean, I think if it's Hatton, Rahm, and Lowry, Rory, I would still go Lowry as my captain's pick over Hatton. I think I would do that. But we'll
I'm
see
saying
how
it matters more who they're playing to finalize.
It does. Of course it does. Of course it does. But I mean,
want to fade.
We don't know who the fuck they're playing.
Yeah.
So we have to guess. This is what our job is. We don't know who the fuck they're playing. So this is what we're supposed to be doing. We have to conjecture and make guesses, and that's what the fuck I'm doing. So if it happens in that point, and we don't know who the fuck they're playing at this fucking moment in time, that's the way I would go. Let's move on to this last little bit here. We got Bern Weisberger, Lee Westwood, Harris English, Fitzpatrick, and Scheffler.
Yeah, the Scheffler call you brought up earlier is interesting because if, like you said, you think they can get hot, and that's the case, I do struggle with it a little bit more. So if I'm looking down here, after Lowry, there's not much, that I'm even excited about. I know that, let's say you plug in, I don't even know. Like if you plug in Scheffler, just use what you said, you get 8,260 left over and you can play wherever you want. So that's the thought process too, is where you could say, I just don't know. Like your theory from earlier, if it's going to be Bryson and Scheffler get out hot, keeping them as a group, but then you got to put Bryson in with it. So at least you're different. But then what happens if you go, JT and Spieth and say the Americans crush, you still have 7,500. You can do whatever you want. So That's where I'm saying I don't know if that could get more popular, but Bryson shouldn't be popular either way. So I guess I like that play with Scheffler because you pair him with Bryson, and then even if people go JT Spieth, you can do a lot of things with your lineup. And I already think people are scared to go with Scheffler Bryson from the starting point because they just don't think Bryson's going to get there. So in talking through it, Kenny, I like that more than trying to pick a guy down there just to play a cheap guy down there that's different from Scheffler. Because if he's with Bryson, as we suspect, I think you're already unique enough to do whatever else you want.
Yeah, I mean, Scheffler's my guy, but I mean, if you're going to pick a Euro here, I'd go Fitzpatrick. He's more of a better caliber player, I think, than the other people in this range. I mean, you got Lee, who's played, like 11, 12 times or something like that, but it's not like he's been looking good here lately, but it is a Ryder Cup. You never fucking know. We didn't even talk about Poulter out here, doing his thing and just turning into a superhuman every time the Ryder Cup comes on, making every goddamn fucking putt there is in the world. But if you had to pick a Euro here, I go Fitzpatrick. All right, bets. Here, bets to end it. My first bet is, I bet this 3 weeks ago, maybe like 6 weeks ago. I bet the Euros at plus 150. I think they're like plus 180 right now. I think it's impossible to bet the United States at minus 200. There's just no value in it. Now, here's the thing. Joe Iadone at Tour Picks had a pretty good play. If you bet, put a certain amount of your money on the United States winning between 1 and 3 points, and putting money on them winning by 4 or 3.5 and 6 points. If you get that range, if you bet both of them, and the way you mix your money between both of them, I think you're going to have to put more money on the 1 and 3, maybe like 70%, and then 30% of your bet on the 3.5 to 6. It comes out to the U.S. plus 150 if one of them wins. So if you're going to go ahead and do a United States bet, I'm not 100% sure about the numbers. Go check out at Tour Picks on Twitter. He put that bet out a couple of days ago. I think that is the only way you can bet the United States. I think right now U.S. is minus 200. I mean, for a team that's lost 7 of 9 of these events, and they're 1 and 4 as the favorite the last 5 times, that number just doesn't make. I can't do it. I'm betting the Euros straight up. But if you want to go U.S. and you think they're going to dominate, or they're going to win, I think that's the way to go. So make sure you check out at Tour Picks on his Twitter feed exactly how that bet will go. You can ask him all the questions about that. I'm not a betting genius, so go get your questions on that to Joe. A couple of other bets I do have this week. Finau and Scheffler. Top I think it was top Americans or top captains picks. I think it was. Let me double check it. Tam, go over with your bets. Let me double check my score.
Finau's a wild card, I think, on the betting cards. But yeah, the 3 I got are one from either side. One guy from either side. I got the top rookie for the event to be Morikawa. I'm going a little bit different. I know there's X, Hovland. There's a couple ones out there that everyone are on. I think Morikawa has shown it. He can show up to places, play good golf. If it is windy, hey, he went to the Open blind and won the thing. So I think that's fine for me. I like him at 7.5 to 1. I've got Shane Lowry as the top team point scorer for 12 to 1. And then I also mentioned it earlier, but I took him as the top Euro rookie, where it's basically him versus Hovland. Hovland's like plus 150. He's plus 275. That's the one I'm going to hammer. I'm just going to say it's going to be Lowry and not Hovland, and just roll it out there. It's, if it's Wiesberger or whatever, I think he's the other guy in there, then so be it. But I don't think it's going to see enough to have a chance to get those points. So I'm going to go with my guy, Shane Lowry, right there and bet that one pretty heavy.
Yeah, I'm going Finau plus 700 and Scheffler plus 800 as top captains picks. I got top USA score Morikawa at plus 900. And top Euro score, I got Hovland at plus 600 and Lowry at plus 900. Those are going to be my bets for now. I'll probably add some in my article. I'll write I haven't even written mine yet because there's so much information to gather. I'll probably write it right after I finish this pod, and then I'll do an update with my final betting card on Thursday night. All right, anything else?
No, I think
who's your pick to win? I didn't even hear your pick to win.
I said I'm with you on the Euros.
Okay.
Right. I like that side. I just don't love it enough. I actually think it's going to be closer than what most people have it. Definitely closer than what they have it on paper.
Oh, yeah.
If US sneaks it out, then I'm cheering for you and everyone else that loves the Euro or the US side here. But, all our friends across Twitter. But I do think it's going to be closer. I think the Euros squeak it out. I was with everything you said. I do like the line you said, too, about Stricker showing his cards a bit early. That kind of is a thing, right? He said he's doing it. It would be great to see. But I don't think he does it where if he just switched things up completely from what everyone thought to try and make a run at this thing. But I think he's thinking practice makes perfect, prep is perfect, perfection, those sort of things that he's going off all those quotes. And for me, I think the Euros take him down here.
Yeah, like a Usual Suspects type thing. Well, what's the character's name? What's Spacey's name in Usual Suspects?
I don't
Come
know.
on now. You guys don't know. You don't remember Usual Suspects? Am I that old? A Kaiser Sose. Just put Stricker, just go off and just pull a fucking Kaiser Sose, limping around the whole fucking time, just walking off and just switching everything up. That would be the shit. I have so much. I have so much fucking respect for Stricker if he went ahead and did that. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm rooting my ass off the whole week for the United States. I want the U.S. to fucking win, but we're betting for real money. So I think I'm making a smart play by betting the Euros. But if I lose, I'll be extremely happy I lost that $200. Like the happiest I've ever been losing $200 probably ever in my life. All right. I think that's going to be it. I did not think the show was going to be this long, but it's the Ryder Cup, so fuck it. I love it. You can find me on Twitter at KendoVT. You can find me on gupscorner.com. Like I said earlier, they got a Ryder Cup optimizer tool out there for this week. Also a lineup generator where you can I suck at that stuff, but I mean, you can literally do some crazy stuff when it comes to captains and locking different types of lineups with a specific captain. Say you want a Euro captain and you want a Euro heavy team, and then you can switch it up to an American captain and an American heavy team. Pretty cool stuff over at Gups Corner. Check it out. I still think they're doing the 7-day free promo out there. So, I mean, shit, if you just want to try it out for the Ryder Cup and check out the site, it might be worth it. So go to gupscorner.com.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Totag and Tambo. Forgot to talk about this, Kenny. I started an Instagram account with the same name, and I'm doing all my renovations for my house. Well, I'm not doing anything. People said that I'm actually paying people to do said renovations.
You're doing it. That's
a lot of fun. It's like I'm a general contractor. I go over to my house every day. I make sure they're working and check in with people and do everything as they're going along and get to check it and update it. But it's kind of fun, and you can see some of the updates on there. I think that's just kind of a fun thing I'm doing on the side, just so I'm documenting it the whole way, because we're doing a lot of changes to the house. As always, you can find me on runpuresports.com. Definitely want to head over there. There's lots of stuff going on. I had a huge NFL night last night. Not only myself winning the Millie Maker, had to get that in for the third time, but a couple other members in the Discord, and another member in the Discord, Kay Fallick, took down 116,000 last night. He played the same lineup in the $180. So head on over to runpuresports.com. Use promo code DGEN50. Get yourself in there for some NFL action as well.
Yeah, I had a Gups Corner guy win $60K last week too, so that was pretty solid. It's more than I ever won in my life, and actually way more. So it's good for him. All right, so it's Ryder Cup week. I cannot wait. I took Friday night off. I am so fucking pumped. Let's see a fucking crazy Koepka Bryson Perry. Please, Street Stricker, do this for us. Let's win some motherfucking money. DGen Nation, go USA.
I've been getting dirty money, Jordan Belfort, stacking penny stocks.